Okay, so still feeling utterly shit. I had to go to a job interview today, so that's why I'm looking cleaner, at least, but still, utterly feeling shit. So I decided I would write down a few things in life that have all gone wrong throughout the years, and just checking that the recording has gone, but wonky, yes. I'm against a plank of wood, but who cares? And, just every time I think of her and I see love, different words and different things, it hurts. And also, just that blood feeling that you get of when you're heartbroken again. I don't know, it's like burning warm, but not. And, it's weird and hard to describe unless you've had that feeling. And again, even when it's gone, I still miss her and want her back and love her. So, hey, anyway, we're going to go on about, rubble the paper in the microphone. That's going to sound fantastic. A history of shit that's gone wrong in life. Anyway, one of the earliest memories I had, right, when I was a kid, I didn't remember a lot, but what do? You don't do a lot when you're a kid. So one of the earliest memories I had was, I don't know why we were doing this, but for some reason we were walking across a field and we had to go over a barbed wire fence, and I cut my leg pretty bad. So and I had to be taken to hospital, and I was in and out of consciousness with my dad driving, and then I either spent the night in the hospital or I was unconscious in the hospital. I don't remember which. And then, it was fine, and, went home. It's just one of the small memories that no one else in my family seems to remember, but I remember it. And then roller skating with my sister, who had hair as dark as mine. This will become relevant later in the whole thing and whole scheme of things. So, And then I also fell down the stairs. It was curved around the corner stairs, and there was halfway a stairgate on it. Again, something my family don't remember. So we were shopping in a supermarket, which we never ever returned to, which was a big Iceland. And a common theme, it seems, going into some of this is that my family went away while I was just there. I was looking in the freezer foods and, just in my own world as a kid, running my hand across the freezers, being stupid. And then I realised, well, they've gone. Where the hell have they gone? They've just walked off without me. They weren't in the next aisle. They weren't in the aisle after that. Literally, they had gone. They'd not carried on like they normally would, just go up and down the aisles. They were gone. And like I said, I didn't remember much. I clearly didn't pay attention to anything as a kid. The only thing I really knew was roller skating with my sister, where she had these inline skates, which clearly she never did again after this. But, I never looked at my mum's face, I'm down at knee level. I really didn't know a lot or see a lot. But my sister had light brown hair after that, like almost blonde hair. And it's, this isn't who I remember, but, apparently they're my family, and hey, they're trying to say, memories of different things like being on the beach with Granny, which I've never known. All I know from that is the video that they've shown me. I never knew that memory. That memory doesn't exist anywhere to me. So, and then Santa, again, I'd never experienced Santa. I never knew anything about Santa, but then it's the first Christmas I know. And my sister was like, oh, it's Mom. It's like, well, I don't even know anything about it. This is my first ever experience. Like, either I'd gone into a few states and just blanked out absolutely everything, or, I just don't really remember anything. And I never did at that time, So maybe my brain didn't work well enough to remember things, because, it's at that point that I start actually paying attention to things and paying attention to the world. So Prior had been taken to kindergarten schools. Yeah. So there was a post-kindergarten school, right? So this was again prior to this. This was in what I'll call pre-supermarket. This is one of the few memories that I have, is going to this church thing where we did the Lord's Prayer. And then, I don't know what we did. It's just, after that, I was taken there, we said the Lord's Prayer, and next thing I know, I'm just back at home. I don't know what happened in that school. I don't know what the hell, but it suddenly blanked out. And even then, I never remembered the rest of the day or travelling home. So that was very, very weird. So I don't know what the hell happened. Did I fall asleep in the school and was always carried home because it was that boring or what? But certainly not any memories of that. And after that, after the supermarket incident, there was a gap. I wasn't taken to school. I was never taken there again. And suddenly I had to start in year 2 of school. So, it's a completely different school. Definitely not that place. So it was very, very weird. And then, do I get round to talking about school? I'm sure I wrote it down. If not, I'll get back to it. Yeah, it's at the bottom. Right, so my family always pretty much ignored me. Dad made a stupid game that was to ignore me and say, "Oh, is that the wind?" And my sister always loved joining in that. And it wasn't just a one-day game, it was a constant game. And also, the joke was like, "Oh yeah, we found you under a bush." And it's like, yeah, brilliant to tell your kids that, you're found under a bush and make that a game. And, with the fact that my birth certificate was always kept separate from the rest of the family, it's very, very weird behaviour. And, it couldn't be found for weeks, so God knows what it's actually with. And anytime you'd say anything to my mum, she just says yeah to anything. She didn't really pay attention. She's too busy doing something else, cooking or making the dishes. And that continues all the way through to high school. So, if I just really said anything, it'd just be yeah. I was like, oh, great, thanks for paying attention, So I've always had issues with being ignored. So, when Steph shutting herself off quite a bit and not really talking because she doesn't want to face the fact that she's gone and got a boyfriend when we were planning a date and getting along great. It's like, no, we're just gonna barely say a few words to each other every week or so. Yeah, thanks. That doesn't hurt. Not at all. So yeah, I wanted to play learning games on the computer because my sister played these learning games that taught how to tell the time on a clock and different things, but I wasn't allowed. Apparently she had some supermassive IQ, but she didn't. I mean, knowing her, growing up and knowing her in high school and how she needed help from my mum for all her tests and all her exams. Yeah, she did not have the supermassive IQ. And, knowing that I did well in tests and too easy in tests and SATs and CATs and other things than IQ tests that I always pretty much got the top marks in. Yeah. Maybe she cheated, maybe she mixed my stuff because there's other things where I've just got blanks in memories. And again, this was not long after no memory at all. So maybe I did a test. Maybe she nixed my test and my results and I was the one with the supermassive IQ and I wasn't allowed to play the learning games. But yeah. Yes, I was told they were only for my sister. I was told she gets first choice. She always got first choice in everything. So, I never got anything I wanted. Nothing at all. Any toys, anything. I would ask for anything. Nope, not allowed. Anything she wants. Yep, she's allowed it. Brilliant. So she got a climbing frame in the garden and that looked fun. And I knew I could climb it. I wanted to climb it. I was told, no, you're not allowed. And again, on top of everything else that I'm not allowed, but she's allowed everything. Maybe it was for safety because I was little, but hey, I knew I could do it. And at this point, I was like, I've had enough. I'm going to do it. So whilst they were all going in, I just sat, again, while she's doing fun things and climbing the climbing frame. I don't have any toys out there. All I'm doing is picking the grass, ripping up the grass, and chucking it to the side. So, yeah, boredom, nothing to do. And so I just carried on doing that, but I was just watching them quietly go into the house, and then, again, they didn't care. They just left me there. Yeah, brilliant family. And so I went, well, this is my chance. Climbed up to the top of the climbing frame. Knew I could do it. It'd been raining. And how do I get down? I'm not big enough to get down. I can't call to them for the house because the house is too far away and they're not going to hear me. So I make it down one rung and make it onto the second, slip, and then crack my head open. I had to have 5 stitches in my head, and it's a pavement, rocks on each side of the pavement with probably about how much that is, 4 or 5 inches. Well, that's more than 5 inches, but big rocks, big jagged rocks all up the side of the grass. Head first onto the rock, bleeding, head open, run to the house, crying, and then trip over just before the doorstep. And then, oh, you've cracked your head open on the doorstep, haven't you? No, I climbed the climbing frame and I fell off and cracked my head open from that. Luckily I didn't die, but, you know, my body is pretty resilient. I know that now from recent things and from a lot of other things that I haven't written to this, from the amount of times I was sick and I didn't eat anything while I was sick, and that took a while to learn that I couldn't eat anything. You know, I tried eating things, but that just made me sick for even longer. So, you know, when I tried to eat things, I was sick for like 14, 15, 16 days. And then even when not eating, I'm still sick for like 8, 9, 10 days. So, you know, it wasn't fantastic. But now, again, if I'm going to throw up and be sick, I've learned that if the only thing that I can ingest is orangeade, it doesn't taste disgusting and doesn't, well, it comes up eventually, but, you know, not immediately. But, you know, still after about 10 minutes, so it's not fantastic. And yeah, I always got sick a lot, and I didn't need to eat anything. And again, you know, it's just one day I'm suddenly not sick, not ill. I'm clammy and covered in sweat from being so ill. But I do get violently ill and vomit non-stop, like every 10 minutes for days and days and days. And then it's not even dry heaving. It's like black, bloody, dried insides of guts that come out. But there's no actual stomach acid left, but I'm still retching and vomiting until that comes out, and then all the enzymes, and it looks utterly disgusting. But still, you know, I'm vomiting until there's absolutely nothing left to vomit, and then my body calms down, I guess, and then I can start being well. And, you know, it makes a big difference to the things that you can taste. You know, for a few days after being ill, things taste completely different. But then I guess, you know, whatever takes over, and I lose as much of the fresh taste. But, you know, maybe it's because it's all been freshly opened and then the pores get clogged. I don't know. But either way, things taste very different for a few days. Right. So I knew that I could do and fell onto the sharp rocks. And, yeah, in primary school, I was told I had to date this girl called Fiona. And I didn't really know her that well, but I was told, you know, you have to date this particular girl. There was a different girl that I liked, who was the blonde-haired girl in the class who I can't even remember the name of now, but I was told I had to date Fiona. And, even though, you know, I was a kid in primary school, year 3, so, yeah, I played with my mates, you know, I played with the boys in the fields, and it was silly punch each other games and run rounds and stupid things kids do, and even conkers, you know. But then I was told I had to date her, so I ended up playing her, and she wants to pretend to ride a horse all day, and it's like, my friends were, why don't you come play with us anymore? It's like, yeah, I have to play with this girl, and it's like, yeah, great, fantastic. So, you know, I had to stop playing with friends to be with her. And then, there's more things to come, right? So school was a Church of England school. What we did was reading, ballroom dancing, maypole dancing, writing, and strange biblical studies. So I started in year 2, I did year 3, and because I started in year 2, I was told, I had to do 3B, which was a special class for people who missed the first year, and then I had to do class 3B because the next year was in a shed. And there was room for about 10 people in there or something. And then I changed schools. So, I ended up going to year 5 in a different school. But still, maybe that's part of the reason why we weren't really taught maths or anything else or anything relevant. Because I had to do class 3 and class 3B for so many years. Stupid and utterly ridiculous. So, yeah. And I wasn't allowed. I was told I wasn't allowed to tell anyone we were leaving to go to the new school, but, not like I was talking to many of the people anymore or hanging out with them because I had to date this girl and, so I did tell her that I was leaving, but still not right. So, when we moved, I wasn't allowed to give out my phone number, and again, before we moved, right, so we lived in one house, then we moved to another house, still in the same area to go to the same school, and then there was people down the road who, the kid was a violent, angry kid, and there were 2 of them, and apparently their family were given death threats, and eventually met him again in high school, and he was still a bit of a twat and a bit angry, but, nothing special. I didn't tell anyone that he was there in school, because they'd probably get us to move house again. And it's like, why the fuck, seriously. I mean, I don't even know why we're moving. What the fuck? It's like, we weren't anything special as a family, so why? It's not like they did anything. So yeah, I wasn't allowed to give out a phone number, wasn't allowed to go anywhere or see anyone, even though my sister would. She was allowed to go out, and she even stayed out till 2 a.m. one night, and then I got shouted for it all fucking night. Where's coming back? It's like, how the fuck am I knowing? Yeah, that's pretty much the only time they really talk to me. Yeah, great family. So, yeah, shouts out all day about her being missing, and I got punished for her shit. There was, even before we moved from, we're still in the house in Kidderminster, both locked in the room for hours because of something she did. I've had computers taken off me for things she did, constantly getting punished for stuff she's done. Yeah, it's not fair. And if I ever do anything, does she get punished? No, just me. But if she does things, I get punished as well. Why? And then eventually she just stopped getting punished at all. I still get punished for things, but no, she doesn't get punished. She nicks my CDs, she nicks my computer games, she nicks toys. Does she get punished? No. And that continues even now, and she's the biggest chav scumlord thief in the world. In her mind, she's not exactly a big time criminal, but still, she's still a criminal. She's selling stuff on the boot sale whilst claiming benefits because she's a scumlord, and she's still not nicked half my stuff. She nicked all of Dad's inheritance, and fucking scumlord. And I've cut her off from my life. I've blocked her, so never speaking to her again. Never ever. Right, so I started in Middlesex and school, so you're graded, but because I didn't do a lot in primary school until I went to the Lie Bradford primary school, where we were introduced to maths, but not a lot else. French as well. But yeah, so stats and caps, because we weren't really introduced to a lot. I went to do the test, was unfamiliar with a lot of stuff, so I got put in fairly middling sets. And from there, it's not easy to work your way up, but I was top of my class every time, and you go up. There were so many sets, there's probably about 25 sets for each class, so you go up 2 to 3, and if you're starting, say, 12 or something, it's not a lot. You slowly go up year by year, 2 a year, and say, 6 years, you might eventually get to the top, but, No, you end up just short at the top. And even then, that's not good enough to get the highest grades because of the stupid way the test system works, right? So, putting classes to get, I wasn't putting the classes to get the grades that I needed. And by 11 ST, or 10 ST, it was year 11 ST, Mrs. Steer, she was like, well, according to your caps and sats, you should be getting higher grades than these. And it's like, well, in my tests, I'm getting the highest grades in my classes, and I'm not even revising. So, if my sats and caps are saying I should be doing better, put me in class where I should be getting A grades. And it's like, well, no, if you're top of your classes, then there's nothing I can do. It's like, well, why even approach me if you're not going to put me in a class that's good enough for my ability? Because if my caps and stats are saying that I should be getting A grades and I'm getting the highest possible grades in my classes and I'm pretty much top of all of my classes from all of my classmates, then put me in a better class. Did she fuck? And, her pet boy Wayne, he needed to swap out of his English class because he wasn't getting along with the people in there. So, because I was in her English class as well, she wanted Wayne in her English class, and I was told, well, we'll swap you into Wayne's one. It won't affect the test that you do, but it did. It put me in one where, rather than getting a B at least, I might have even been able to get an A on the English that I was in. But in the class that I got transferred to, the highest I could get was a C. And they were weeks behind with the literature. I mean, the literature we'd been reading, going to that class, and suddenly it's retard level. And not only are we weeks behind, but all we're doing is, rather than learning and doing all the literature, is just acting. So yeah, I mean, I didn't mind the acting so much, and I was doing different accents for an Inspector Calls, and I was Gerald's, but that's all we did, was read and Inspector Calls. Constantly. It's just acting it out very, very slowly. It's not read the book. And again, when I transferred from primary school, because all we did was read there, I was reading at a black book level, which no one in primary school that I went to, like Brantford, was reading it, because they did the different levels. There was 4 levels. And everyone else was pretty much brown at that point, which is the one below black. And I was the only one that could read at the black book standard. But still, because I have a lisp, I got put in the retards, taken out of the class for 4 people to establish exactly what was wrong with us, because I had a lisp. Other people were having reading difficulties and learning difficulties, but I had a lisp on that section. Even though I was at the black book level and I could read exceptionally, I got put in the reading difficulties group. And it's like, why? I'm reading Black Book Standard. I can read these perfectly fine. I can read better than anyone else in this class. And this is because I've got a lisp when I'm reading. Yeah. So, finished my maths exam. Have I finished talking about that? Yeah. Well, I finished my maths exam on the mock exams in year 10 in 10 minutes. And my teacher came up to me and he was, you could have done it in 10 minutes. What are you doing? Go back, recheck your exams. And it's like, no, I finished it. And it's like, no, you couldn't have possibly done it in 10 minutes. So I was like, well, if I've done it in 10 minutes and I get the highest possible grade, put me up in a class where I'm going to do well enough, because this is easy for me. I haven't even revised. Put me in a class where I can get an A grade, because the highest possible we could get was a B in that. And so, lo and behold, also, not only that, there was this thing where we did, by the year only, to make the numbers 1 to 10. Every year we did this. And so, one year, I can't remember which one it was, I was finally able to do it. You could add, divide, minus, or, multiply. And you could only use those 4 numbers. And one year was the only year it was possible to do 1 to 10. I did it. I was the only one that did it. So, I was like, I'm the only one that did that. I'm the only one that's ever been able to do that, because it's not possible before, but, that's beside the point. I did that in no time as well. So, if I am the best, then put me up into a class where I can get an A grade. And, he reluctantly agrees. 25 minutes. And so he put me up into class 1C. Not 1B, 1C. And again, it was exactly the same test. We could only get a B grade. So he didn't put me up into a class that was even worth doing. So that's. So we'll probably have to get a move on because the camcorder running out of battery. So I convinced my high school friends to go to college, and rather than sixth form, because I wanted to get out there, and I thought college is more adult, it's better for you. I wanted to do A levels, but the college convinced me to do an AVCE and put me into this building in the middle of nowhere on the outskirts of town while everyone else did A levels. So I ended up losing my friends through that because we were one class in the middle of nowhere where didn't really know anyone and not in the main building. So that was a bit shit. So we go to, and especially with not being able to meet people after class and not able to give out my number, just being out in the middle of nowhere, that was a bit shit. So I started, after that, being more discreet, it's like missing classes in uni and stuff to go meet girls and things to date, and, be allowed out of the house. So I got onto a uni course that only had 8 people, and it was like the weakest link. Everyone was leaving, and eventually there was only 3 people and me left, and there was 1 semester left. But that's when I eventually left. My mum kept throwing away my hockey stuff, which was my only way of socialising, because I was going out on hockey nights out and drinking and meeting people, and it's pretty much the only way to get social, but it was hard to get a lift. So, it became that I was only able to go out drinking every other week, which made things shit. So that wasn't very fun when, it's like she didn't like me going to that, but I was doing it for the social and to meet girls and have friends. And no, she just had something against hockey. I don't know what. So I got a fork injury in the face, which I don't even remember, but my sister apparently did that at a very young age. I've got a shuriken injury where one of her friends who lived down the road, the bloke, she was probably sucking his cock because she was trying to kill me. So, she got him to throw it at me and it just skimmed across my face, and he was like, no, it must have been a crisp. And I was like, no, you just threw a metal thing at me trying to stab it into my face. And then Rob Gill, which she got to drop kick my head, and it broke my neck in such a way that it didn't break it, but it damaged it so much that I could only look that way for a week, and it hurt to go any further forward, so that took ages to recover. And again, I didn't say anything about it, but one time I punched her in the stomach and they're all crying over, oh no, you could have killed her, oh, what have you done? And I was like, yeah, anytime I dare fight back. But, I get injured and it's like, well, does anyone care? And tonsillitis and all the times that I've been so violently ill, do I get taken to hospital once? No. I've got the scar on the side of my leg from the university where I scraped it down the hill that was down to past the flesh and it was going gangrenous. Did I get taken to hospital for that? No. But did I? well, my mum did know about it, still, I didn't really make a big deal of it. But at that point, I was like, well, my body can handle it. My immune system can handle it. And it can. And even now, I know just how much my body can handle, which is not good. It's not good that when you don't want to live, that you know what I mean. So, yeah. The football people in high school, I always used to play with them on the football in the playground until, it's pretty much pointed out to me, because I was only allowed 1 bath a week, how smelly I was by girls, and because I'm not allowed to have more than 1 bath a week, even though I ask, I stopped playing football because insecurities. I didn't want to be the really, really smelly, horrible one, which I was, because I wasn't allowed to have a bath or have deodorant or antiperspirant in high school when I really needed it. So, yeah, that wasn't fun. The high school rewards, which I'll go into, which is all this. We got these rewards every single time from classes, and in year 7 I handed them all in year 8 I handed a few of them in. I kept some of them, so I've got quite a few from year 8 that I didn't hand in, because in year 7 on the half day there's a rewards thing for all of your rewards, and I must have handed in over 20, and you watch all your classmates going up, some of them repeatedly every single time, because there's the half day, then there's the reward ceremony where you sit in and you wait patiently thinking, well, I've got all these merits, surely I'm getting something, and so I did half of them in. Again, year 8, nope, nothing. So year 9 I just didn't go, and then year 10 I didn't go, and year 9 I have a load that I didn't even hand in. So yeah, it's like they're all year 9s that I didn't hand in, and then year 10 there's hardly any here. I don't know if I handed some in. I might have. Year 11 there's like 1, 2. I don't know if I kept a couple and handed the rest in, but again, I didn't go to the half day, and but year 9, year 10, I didn't even go to school on the half day, and then I got in trouble for it in year 10. They were like, well, why didn't you go? And it's like, well, what's the point of handing all these rewards? I never get rewarded, so I apparently, rather than them, you need to get a special recommendation from the teacher, 2 teachers, to get a reward of whatever they were given and the handshake. And it's like, no, that's not fair. I get all these credits or merits, and I never get anything from them. I never get any notification. I'm top of all my classes, and they're like, oh, we didn't think you cared. And it's like, what the fuck? It's not about whether someone cares. Yeah, of course I cared. It's nice to be recognised for your achievements and be rewarded, but, at least once. Give the student at least one, especially if they're pretty good students. Don't you think top of the class students deserve something who are rising up? No, not once. Not once at all. And then Colours Ball in uni, again, the one guy took over for the Hockey Society, and it's after 1 year you get your half colours, and after 2 years you get your full colours. So on the half year your half colour ball, second colour ball, because I went in the first. Obviously you don't get anything in the first year. Second year I was expecting my half colours. No, didn't get them. Apparently you just forgot. But still, that's charming, isn't it? Thanks. So, and then it's the recommendations for the positions, and I applied to be club captain, and it was pretty close. I nearly won. I was 1 vote off being the social secretary, and because it was close, they were like, well, we'll put you as financial officer. And it's like, no one wants to be financial officer, because one of the previous years someone took all the money out, $2,000 or something, and did a runner with it. So the social secretary is just a cursed position. And we had to do not exam, but I've lost the words, report, whatever, coursework thing for our studies, which was to get interviews from people and feedback based on a questionnaire of at least 20 people. Now, considering I'd lost all my high school friends from the fact things had gone to uni, and my tiny class, and living out in the middle of nowhere where I wasn't even allowed to go out and see people much, so, well, not at all, which is why I couldn't even date in high school, but, if I wanted to see anyone, I had to sneak out during school hours and miss classes and miss college classes. And so, I was in Hockey Society, but most of the people that I got on well with had already graduated and left. So at this point, it was people that were like, well, I don't know you that well enough to fill in this exam. And my mum didn't want to fill in this exam. And my 3 classmates, I don't know you well enough to fill in this questionnaire. It's like, well, come on, we've all got to do this questionnaire of at least 20 people, of people who at least sort of know you. It's like, yeah, great. really feeling fantastic, and I've got friends here, so that's why I left and went to Birmingham to study and make friends and socialise, and left the shithole of Worcester behind. And in high school as well, I did fire brigades as my work experience. And, you know, I did it because I didn't want to work in a shop for my work experience, because it seemed pretty pointless and boring. And because I did that, other people joined the fire brigade training with me, but it's me that made them do it. You know, I convinced the school to let me, and it was pretty fun. A week of fire brigade training and roles and a show at the end. And we've been talking for 36 minutes, so I'm going to leave it here and call it a day. But still, you know, there's a lot of things that have gone wrong in my life. And what led me to moving to Birmingham and leaving that world behind. And still, you know, there's been a lot since then that's still gone wrong and been cursed, but that's the root cause of my depression through to the high school years. I mean, you know, I sort of skipped a lot to go quickly glance over college and glance over uni, but I've been talking for so long. Anyway, I'm going to be feeling shit and heartbroken for ages, and hope that she'll stop treating me like this and something will happen. I mean, you know, to go from, yeah, we're waiting to arrange a date for when you're better, to barely talking. You know, it's not fantastic. Highlight of my day when chatting all day, every day, and then it's like, gone. Thanks. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.